Okay, so Vic Fangio makes the change at safety. The Eagles rookie gets his first team reps since being hurt. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns are coming to Philly not just for the Saturday preseason game, but for 2 days of joint practice where we'll see the starters compete. So much to break down, including the football gods blessing the Eagles. And you got to hear what Peyton Manning said about QB1 Jalen Hurts. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk Podcast. If you rock with our Philadelphia Eagles, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss the videos. So Sunday was the Eagles open practice, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video, as the defense won the majority of the day, minus the big-time play from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith over Cooper DeJean for a touchdown. But look how Jalen Hurts celebrates. Love to see that early in a season. With that being said, the Eagles didn't practice on Monday. However, all Eagle Nation was waiting for the results of an MRI for Landon Dickerson, who went down at the end of open practice. The results came back that it was a meniscus in his right knee. So we didn't know the timetable he would be sidelined for. However, I was live to discuss it, and most of you thought it would be A-OK. And 10 minutes before I got off, we got the best case scenario. Eagles Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson will undergo what's being described as a minor procedure on the meniscus in his right knee in the coming days. Dickerson then will be considered week to week with the goal of returning for Thursday night, September 4th, regular season opener versus the Dallas Cowboys. This really is the best case scenario. All I got to say is thank you, football gods. Landon Dickerson, best left guard in the NFL, and just inspires the Eagles in so many ways. However, if September 4th comes around and he's not 100%, let him sit. I know he wants to play the Cowboys and be out there for when the Eagles drop the Super Bowl 59 banner, but it's not worth injuring yourself more. So again, right now we're aiming for him to be good for September 4th, but we'll just play by ear. But still, absolute great news. As for today's practice, it was a light one due to the fact that tomorrow is the start of Eagles versus Browns joint practice. Cleveland coming to Philly this time. We should learn a lot more about this team in its totality. And for anybody and everybody who's still worried about the cornerback position, this lets Howie Roseman and Vic Fangio get a close look at Greg Newsome, who's been low-key on the trade block for the Cleveland Browns throughout the offseason, but he still remains. So expect the rest of the week to be videos and or live streams on joint practice. Let's beat up the Browns. Switching back to practice, the first person to get left guard snaps with the first team was none other than Brett Toth, which actually surprised me. I've been watching him throughout training camp. He's got third, sometimes fourth string reps. I thought they might use Matt Pryor as right guard and Tyler Steen at left guard, but maybe that would have been the option if Landon Dickerson was going to miss a lot of time. But with him supposedly back by the season opener, maybe they don't need to switch too much up, and that's why they're giving Brett Toth left guard first team reps. We'll pay attention to it, but more importantly, as long as Landon Dickerson's back, it's all good. As for the biggest news of the day, probably, Jimmy Kempski was the first to tweet Andrew Mukuba at safety with the ones for the first time since the first week of camp, which was before he got hurt. Now, when I mentioned this on Twitter, people were in the comment section saying, Philly Mike, you talked about it in your video. Fangio likes to rotate people simply because he said he needs everybody to play with everybody in case an injury happens. The guy knows how to play with this guy knows how to play with that guy, and I agree. And we've seen Mukuba get first team reps, but never to start practice, never in the first session with the ones. When he rotates people in, you'll see other positions get first team reps on the second part of practice, not first. So this could still be a sign that Mukuba was always going to be the starting safety, got hurt. They've used Cindy Brown, who has played well, but they still want to try Mukuba. You got to Remember, last year, Quinyon Mitchell played all training camp in the slot. When he got the opportunity to start outside, we ain't really know until the season started, and he made the most of it. Fangio knows what he's doing. And again, at the end of the day, any position, any player, if Fangio says that he should be starting, I'm going to listen. So let's see, especially with joint practice tomorrow, will Mukuba be the first safety out there when we're going against Cleveland? Not just in joint practice, but Saturday during the preseason game. Regardless, Fangio has a plan for Mukuba in this defense. As Martin Frank tweeted, Mukuba also getting some reps at dime. Sidney Brown also with the ones at safety, Ringo at corner. Like I said, Fangio does mix and match players, but who starts practice gives more of a signal who he's rocking with more with the ones that day. Still, when Sidney Brown is in at safety, that's when Fangio brings out the dime package where he puts Mukuba in it. We haven't seen much dime, and when we do see dime, it's always another corner. This time, you're using Mukuba, who has slot experience. So again, Fangio envisions a role for Mukuba, whether it's the dime package player or starting safety. A lot is going to be put on the young man's plate. But again, so far, so good with Eagle first round and second round picks when it comes to defense. Now, before we switch to the offense that won today's practice, if you're still counting who was getting first team reps first, Adoree Jackson or Keely Ringo, today it was Adoree Jackson. And so far, it makes 8 days Jackson has been up for first and 5 days for Ringo, which means if this is the way Fangio's playing it, it's not looking good for the Philly Mike prediction before training camp. And as I told you, if you watch the live stream before training camp, before I seen any football, based off what I thought Fangio knew about Keely Ringo, allowing the Eagles to let Slay and Rodgers walk, I had a solid 8 in confidence. Since it's dropped down to a 5. Hopefully it don't drop down much more, but we will see. Now to the offense on Tuesday. Jalen Hurts came out the gate sharp. He had 0 incompletions. Although they only threw the ball 8 times, he was 8 for 8. A lot of running plays. And like I said earlier, the practice lasted under an hour because they're preparing for the Browns. Brandon Lee Gouton tweeted this: Jalen Hurts off to a red hot start in practice, multiple connections to Devontae Smith, who is dominating the defense, and also hit Jahan Dodson in a tight window along the left sideline. He also tweeted that Jalen Hurts rifled a throw against his body while rolling to the right to connect with Dallas Goedert to beat Quinyon Mitchell. Nice completion, which was much needed the way the defense handled the offense at the public practice when I was there live. Again, only 8 throws, but the way Brandon Lee Gouton was talking, Devontae Smith dominating the defense, maybe gave it to Quinyon a little bit because Quinyon was locking him up on Sunday. However, there was no A.J. Brown, but there was no A.J. Brown today, too. Hopefully, he's good for practice with the Browns. Well, he was there, just limited. So I don't know how much 11 on 11s he played. All that being said, Jalen Hurts in the offense getting a much needed win before we start to see them against other competition. Speaking of Jalen Hurts, Peyton Manning was talking about him on Chris Collinsworth PFF podcast. Listen what he said.
And you're right. I mean, he's played so well in both those Super Bowls, but I like the way he goes about it. He calls me a lot. I'm just, it asks me lots of questions. They actually run a lot of plays that we used to run, Sirianni to Frank Wright to Tom Moore, sort of that chain. And he calls me with very specific questions about certain plays. So he's a student of the game. You know, as another example, you think, I mean, he squats 600 pounds. He can, you know, run over guys. He can throw it a mile. But his appreciation of the cerebral part of the game is what's impressive to me, and how he's taken his game to the next level. And I think the sky's the limit with this guy.
Have you ever met a more intense, serious human being than Jalen?
No.
It's almost intimidating when you're in the room with
him. I haven't
him.
had a face-to-face with him in a while. We do a lot of texting and a lot of voice memos, but I imagine he's reading those with a very straight, serious face. Like I don't crack any jokes with him. You know, I don't test my material on him because I'd imagine I would hear crickets.
You've been such a big part of all of this for so long. The
When a GOAT like Peyton Manning is talking to you like that and y'all communicate together all the time, you know you're doing something right. He's getting more cerebral every single year. And this year might be one of his best. And he's doing that with a new coordinator every single year, too. With all that being said, again, I enjoyed open practice. I do want to say one more thing about open practice. Moro Ojomo got his daily sack, but man, oh man, not just getting a sack. He flushed Jalen Hurts out the pocket so much. You could really see his game flourishing. And it started last year when people started breaking down this film, saying that, yeah, Jalen Carter's getting the double teams. Jordan Davis eating up the block, stopping the run. But Moro Jomo is winning his one-on-ones every single time. And just because you win your one-on-one don't mean you're going to get a sack, depending on how quick the quarterback gets the ball out. But he's there putting pressure, and you could see it during live training camp. He did get a physical sack, and multiple times it was a Jomo, 97, that flushed him out. More interior pressure than pass rush pressure. It will work itself out behind Nolan Smith and Jalen Hunt. I hope. I believe so, but I hope. But the interior pressure is going to make the pass rushers that much better. With that being said, Quinyon Mitchell locked up Smitty during open practice, and it looked like he got his revenge today, crushing him. Iron sharpened iron. $630,000 raised. Sheesh. Like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. We'll be doing live streams later in the day, in the evening soon. Once I get myself situated, you don't want to miss out. But before we leave, muscle up if you're Philly strong. I'll catch you on the next one. We out.